Welcome to the Property Profits Real Estate Podcast, the show where real estate investors talk strategy, capital, deals, and growth with your host, Dave Dubeau.
You know, a lot of people talk about creating a thought leadership platform, creating a community, creating a group of like-minded people, especially when it comes to real estate and growing your real estate investing business. But not very many people have done it like today's guest, Lee Fjord, zooming in from beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. Lee has built up a significant community over the last few years. I think 3,500 plus members. And we're going to talk a little bit with Lee about that and what he's up to in real estate. Welcome to the show, Lee.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, glad to be here and looking forward to, catching up and sharing some information about what I do here in St. Louis.
Yeah, well, let's start with that. So give us a little snapshot of what kind of real estate investing you do, what the portfolio currently looks like, what it consists of. Just give us an idea.
Yeah. So currently hold around 1,000 apartments spread across Missouri, Arkansas, and Georgia. We've got, and then the bulk of that is within about an hour drive of St. Louis. And in St. Louis itself, I own and manage with no partners, call it around 100 doors. And then I've also syndicated multiple 100+ unit apartment complexes on a regional basis.
Got it. All right. Very good. So do you guys self-manage these properties?
The ones in St. Louis, we do self-manage. We're vertically integrated in St. Louis, and the ones outside of St. Louis and the surrounding areas, we utilize third-party management.
Okay. Very cool. So Lee, some multifamily guys, they take down everything themselves or with syndications and kind of do the whole thing themselves. Others have co-GPs on deals. What do you guys typically do with your projects?
These days, I'm not really doing many co-GPs or bringing in too many other partners. I have my tight-knit group of, call it 4 of us. I'm the leader of the team, and we knock it out together.
So 4 of you, as in 4 people working with you in the same company, or 4 different kind of independent?
We're all intertwined and in the same company. So Green Forest Capital. Yeah.
Right. You're all 4 partners in the company. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. So about 1,000 doors within an hour's range. That's very, very interesting. So tell me a little bit about how and why you started up your community. I think you're calling it your thought leadership platform.
So I started it because when I was first getting started, I didn't know who to turn to or where to turn for an in-person opportunity to meet people. You can listen to podcasts like this. You can get on YouTube. You can have, you can get on like Bigger Pockets or Facebook or whatever. But ultimately, it's the in-person opportunities that we're missing. A lot of times you have to spend $20,000 to $40,000 in order to join a group, in order to then have the opportunity to go to conferences or meetings with other investors. Where, I like the in-person aspect. I'm an in-person kind of guy. I'm an extrovert, so I want to meet people in person. And there just really was an opportunity in my area that was focused on multifamily or commercial real estate investing. There were, meetup groups for flipping or wholesaling or whatever, which are great and all, but that wasn't my. You
weren't doing that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't really help me to meet a bunch of house flippers or wholesalers in most cases. So I started Make It Happen Multifamily with the idea of bringing together real estate investors who wanted to focus on multifamily. And not just in St. Louis, on a regional level. We can, I've had people drive in from, as far as call it 5 or 6 hours just to come to one of our meetings.
Nice. So when did you start that meetup?
So I started it originally in 2019. Okay. And then, of course, COVID hit, right then, and shut down my ability to be able to bring together groups of people. So call it, when we were able to get back together again, call it 2021. We started back up with, originally it was like a meeting where we just all met and got together and talked about real estate. And when I relaunched the meetings, I decided I wanted to have it be an interactive opportunity to go to the property with the owners.
Okay.
So that's why I started Tours and Pours, where we go to a property with the owner there present and learn from the owner on site of the property.
Very cool. So how does that you got 3,500 members. That's a lot of Greyhound buses going to tour a property.
It's our average attendance is much lower than that. Our
Yeah.
average attendance is probably 60 to 100 people each month,
Nice.
where
Yeah.
we show up to a property. We'll usually stand outside of the property. Everybody gets name tags, and then introduce the owner. Learn about their process from like how did you get your start, that kind of thing,
Mhm.
the building, and then we usually go into the property, tour the amenities, tour one or more of the vacant apartments. We don't usually go into occupied apartments. It has happened where we've gone into occupied apartments because the tenant was allowed us to,
Yeah.
and the owner was 100% full. So, he bribed the tenant, gave him some Amazon gift cards or something to let us come in their apartment. But yeah, we toured the property with the owner, removing that barrier of like, anybody can walk past a property and say like, oh, I wonder who owns that property. Like who
Yeah.
I'd like to be, him or her one day. But to actually go into the property with the owner and look he or she in the eyes and, and realize like, there's nothing any different between, John Nash and myself.
Right.
Like he owns 1,000 doors, and man, I'd really like to be him one day.
Yeah. And he puts his shoes on the same way. And yep, exactly. Okay. That's really smart. So you've been doing that for about 5 years now, Lee. Is that the same thing every month, or do some months you
Yep.
have some in-person meetings, or is it all property tours?
It is. So after the property tour starts at 6 o'clock on the second Thursday of every month
Okay.
at the property. And then we tour the property. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour. And then
Yeah.
we go to a local brewery called Schlafly Brewery. We go there and they allow us to take one of their meeting spaces with a stage. We get up on the stage, everybody networks and, has a couple beers. Then we get up on stage and I, introduce my sponsors. I have sponsors that help promote
Nice.
and provide value for the group because it does cost money to run these things.
Yeah.
So bring up the sponsors, and then I bring up the owner and introduce the owner to the group. Some people don't come for the tour. Some people just show up at Schlafly at 7 o'clock, and
They just want the drinks and the networking and
yeah,
learn something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like they still get to meet the owner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
we throw up the presentation, and show the pictures of the property, learn about the owner's background. Hey, how'd you get started? Tell us, what your favorite way of making money in real estate is, tips and tricks and, processes. It's a really great way to be able to, it's kind of like a live podcast interview,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well, it's
And
even
then I
better.
open it up
Yeah.
to the audience to ask questions, of course, as well.
That's really smart, Lee. I've interviewed a lot of people that have communities, but nobody has one quite like that, or definitely that interactive. So, tip of the hat to you there, my friend. That's really, really smart. So, what besides the nice warm fuzzies and the enjoyment of hanging out with fellow real estate weirdos like ourselves, what 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 have you seen as like direct and indirect benefits from putting on these monthly meetings?
Oh, I've had I've found business partners, young business partners who have been inspired and decided to join me on this journey and come along with me. One of which is my core business, one of my core business partners, Sam. He's with me, and he's one of the reasons why he and I linked up was because of Tours and Pours.
Nice.
I have another one, Nick, same, and then I have many passive investors that are not interested in being an active owner, swinging the hammers and, and putting paint on the walls or being a syndicator, who have decided to join me off passively on the deal. So they'll jump in passively. And I've raised on my last real estate syndication just from members of the Make It Happen Multifamily group. I probably raised $500,000.
Nice. Nice. That's beautiful. Well, that is inspiring. Thank you very much for that. So, switching gears slightly, getting back to your primary business, your real estate business.
Mhm.
At the moment, you're at approximately 1,000 units across different communities. What kind of properties are you looking at? Or are you looking for? What's your buy box in
Yep.
2026?
So I'm buying, call it 50 plus units under 10 million, 2000s or newer
Mhm.
in Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas.
Okay, very good. And what are you hoping to accomplish over the next 12 months or so? Where do you see the company going?
So as we continue to add additional properties to the portfolio, we'll add them in under our vertically integrated brand, Origin Property Management, and we will self-manage those properties. We're no longer doing properties so far away as like Atlanta or something like that.
Okay.
We're only doing properties, in closer to where I'm at and where we can self-manage them. I've already this year to date closed. So I'm a big believer in goals,
Yeah.
and uh, on December 18th, I wrote out all of my big rocks, like the EOS, big rocks. And I wrote down that I was going to close a deal as a 100% owner over 20 units. I was going to do two syndications. I was going to close my first storage facility, hire my regional manager, and do my first development deal. So I have already closed a 28 unit deal with no partners,
Nice.
funded by the sale of a property that I syndicated. And I closed my first syndication, and I've already closed my first storage facility. So, and I've
Congratulations.
identified my regional manager who's going to come on and kind of take some time off my plate.
Wow, that's the power of setting those goals and then looking at them every once in a while.
Yes, I keep the whiteboard in my office with the same with check boxes next to each one, reminding me what I've accomplished. I'd also have I have some refinances to do, that are on the list as well, and those are in the works too.
Fantastically. So when it comes to raising capital for your deals, you're going to be doing some more syndications. You've got a number of built-in partners or LPs within your community. Um, what else, if anything, do you do for finding investors and raising private capital?
So I'm a regular attendee of real estate networking groups. I work with and meet with a lot of folks that way. I do direct outreach through LinkedIn. So I reach out to other people that I believe would be interested in investing passively, which is a very long process. It takes a long time to really turn that, and a lot of effort to turn a LinkedIn marketing process into actual money in the bank,
Yeah.
or money, hit the deal. Um, let's see, friends and family outreach constantly. So I'd say half. So 50% probably comes from the group, and 50% generally comes from my networking and my other, outreach that I do or have done.
Yeah.
I have a lot of
Very,
repeat
very.
investors as well.
I would imagine. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, very, very cool, Lee. Well, congratulations on your success and what you're up to with the company. Who are you looking to connect with these days?
Looking to connect with passive real estate investors and other owners like myself who own 1,000 plus units. We're always looking to meet new friends in the industry, and other, anybody who is interested in investing passively in a 2,000 unit plus, or 2,000s build unit in the Midwest, enjoys cash flow. My favorite way to structure syndications is where we refinance the deal and return the 100% of the member capital in the middle of the deal, and then we just keep it. Real estate's meant to be
Nice.
held for the long run. It's not
Yeah,
something, that you're supposed to hold for 3 to 5 years, I've realized.
I think that's really smart. I agree with you. It's we shouldn't be flipping apartment buildings. I don't think we should be holding on to them long term for sure. Very, very cool, Lee. So if
Yep.
people want to find out more and connect with you, where's the best place for them to do that?
greenforestcapital.com. You can find me on there, and there's a link to be able to book a call with me on my website.
Perfect. What's the website again?
greenforestcapital.com.
That's a lovely name. How did that come about?
So I'm a Boy Scout, and I wanted to be able to incorporate a portion of my profits to charity. So I found a charity called One Tree Planted that reforests the national parks after they've been burned by forest fires. So 1% of our profits go to replanting forest fires. They plant a tree. For every dollar you donate, they plant one tree. And you can pick where they want the trees to be planted. I prefer the national parks because I love the national parks. I love to camp and travel throughout the nation. Being a Boy Scout, that's kind of my favorite thing to do. So I was like, I wanted to incorporate trees into the name. So Green Forest Capital just kind of flowed.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That's a wonderful, wonderful name and wonderful backstory to it as well. Lee, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you again on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Property Profits Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, apply at daveinterviews.com.